This is going to be a really quick video about Google Meets. So we're going to talk a little bit about the different types of Google Meets that there are and how they function a little bit differently. So there are technically 3 different types of Google Meets. There's a nickname meet, which is created with a word and should be used for meets that you have with students. There's a Google Meet code. This is usually a hyphenated code. It's a set of words and/or numbers, and that can be used with fellow staff members because it's really easy to share that code with a link. And the last type is still the same as a Google Meet code, but it's a Google Meet created on a calendar. And this can generate a code, but you'll be able to invite someone outside of the domain. This is a really good way to use a meet with parents, okay? So let's start out with the very first one, which is a nickname meet. When you create a nickname, it's a phrase or a word, and it's something that you're going to want to use with your students. Google Classroom functions as a nickname type of meet. As a teacher, you're going to have to initiate that meet. Students cannot initiate nickname meets. Be sure you have all students exited out of the meet before closing the meet, or all students can stay in that space and be able to get back in or stay in there. If you run Meet through Google Classroom, you're going to want to turn off that Meet and reset the code each time that you use it. And parents will not be able to get into a nickname Meet. I'm signed in as a teacher right now. I'm going to show you the teacher and the student perspective to show you how it looks a little bit different. So here on my Meet at meet.google.com, if I go to join or start a meeting, it's going to ask me to either enter a meeting code or a nickname. A nickname is basically any type of word you want to put here. I'm going to use teddy bear. I don't think anyone in the district's going to use that right now. But if I go over to a student account, and we're going to get that student into meet.google.com as well. Up here, you're going to notice that there's an E, just to let you know that this is going to be that student account, okay? So as a student, if I go here to use a meeting code and I put in the word teddy bear and I go to continue, I'm going to get a message that says I'm not allowed to start a meeting. I cannot use a nickname code if I'm in my student account. I cannot get into a nickname meet without my teacher. So I'm going to go back to the teacher side here and show you that I am going to start that meet right now. We're going to call it teddy bear. And I'm going to get over here into a join screen, and it says I'll be able to join this meet in just a minute. And I'm going to go to join meet. See, it says my nickname is teddy bear and can only be used within APS. Okay, go back to the student account. I'm going to tell my students, hey, we're having a Google Meet and the code is going to be teddy bear. And when they stick that in there now that the meet has started from a teacher, you're going to notice I can get into that join screen now. Account. So when I join this here in the student account, and I'm going to be able to see my teacher here in a second, I notice that my teacher is here and they're the only 2 in this meet. If I am a teacher, so going back to this teacher account, I notice that my student is right here with me. I'm going to make sure that all my students are out of this meet before I leave. If a student stays inside this meet before all of them are gone, they have the ability to stay in that meet and reuse it. So what you're going to want to do is go up to people right here. And since you are the only one who can initiate the meet as a teacher, you're going to select that student and you're going to select this minus sign and remove them. Once all of the students are removed from this call, and I know that I'm the only one in it, I'm going to close out this meet. Go back to the student side. If a student tries to go back to that meet right here, they're not going to be allowed back into that meet. Okay, so understanding this concept of students not able to use nicknames, know that in Google Classroom, when you are here in your classwork tab and you have the meet option, this meet functions like a nickname. So if I go up here to the settings icon in a Google Classroom and I go down this meet and I see that there's this meet code, you notice there's no hyphens here. It's actually a really long coded nickname. So once I have this turned on for my students, and I'm back here in classwork, students can join a meet right here through this icon. So from the student's perspective, let's go into that Google Classroom. And if I select meet here, it's going to say you can't create a meeting yourself. Okay. I can't do that when I am in a student account. If I go back to the teacher account over here, once the teacher has started that meet and I join it, then if I go back to my student account and I reload that screen, it's going to allow me to go ahead and join that meet now without my teacher. Now, this is kind of important because if students are constantly going in through that same meet over and over again, it can cause a sort of, I don't want to say a glitch, but it will be cached in the memory that the student has constantly gone into this meet. If as a teacher, I am removing the student as I did previously, and when I close out, if a student keeps their Google Classroom open and you see that it's still here, I'm still able to access that meet without my teacher. So what you're going to want to do to make sure that that's safe is make sure that everyone is out of that meet and that it is closed out. Is in Google Classroom right here to turn this off and to change it often. If I go here to the stream, I'm going to notice what that meet link is, and students can find that nickname code. Go here to settings. Turn this ability off for students. We're going to save it when you're not having a meet. When you do have meets that are scheduled, let students know or let the class know through the stream or some other way that says, hey, we're going to have a meet on Thursday. Make sure to join through Google Classroom. They don't even need to know the meet code or anything. Go in here through settings. Before you start that meet, click on this. Go ahead and reset that code just to be triple safe to where it's different. Turn this back on for students, save it, and then students will have to refresh their screens, and that will clear that cache out of there to where they can go ahead and enter that meet the same exact way that we have to make sure that it's protected. Okay, so this is using a nickname meet with students. We're going to go back to the nickname meet link. So if you do want to have a link so it's easier for the younger students to get into the meet without having to go to meet.google.com and type in that nickname, you can create a link by typing in g.co/meet/ and whatever you want that nickname to be, and that will function like a link. Okay. The next type of meet code is a hyphenated meet code. Meet codes can usually stay active for up to 45 days. You don't want to use this format with students because students can get into this type of meet link. You can send a meet code with a link to staff though, so that makes it a little bit easier, but just know that this is not the right way you really want to set up a meet with students. Outside APS, people cannot easily get into this meet, but it is a little bit easier than the nickname version. Okay, if I go here to the teacher side and I go to join or start a meet, and I leave this blank because I want to generate a code, I'm going to go to continue. And that's going to create a brand new meet. And you're going to notice right here, it's going to automatically create a code for me. So if you notice right here, it has this code right here. If I take this link, this is the meet link that I can copy and I can go ahead and share with a colleague. Now, if I join this meet right here with this link as a teacher, I'm pretty good. It's got right here, but I want to show you that when I share a meet code with a student, if they go up here in their student account, and they use that link or that meet code right here, and I go to join now, I'm in the meet with my teacher. Okay, now since I was the teacher who generated the link, I can still remove this student, and then I close out the meet right here, and I close out and I exit. If I go back to the student side, and since this meet code has been activated, if I go to this meet code again as a student, you're going to notice that they can initiate and get back into that meet even when it's closed. So this is where we're saying do not use a Google Meet code. You're going to want to use a nickname. Okay. Oh, well, apparently you can't join this video call. So this is one of those things that once that Meet code is activated, it is somewhat easier to get into if you rejoin the Meet or if you as a teacher never closed out of everyone in that Google Meet. Okay. Now I'm going to switch a little bit over to parents' point of view. This is going to be a parent's point of view. If I go to meet.google.com here and I try to get into a Meet, so as a teacher, I'm going to initiate one. And we were just talking about the nickname code. So I'm going to start a nickname that's Teddy Bear again. And if I go back to the parent side of things and I try and add in that code of Teddy Bear and I go to join that Meet, it will say that that Meet does not exist and that you don't have the right type of account to run that Meet. So if you are trying to get into a conference with parents or have a Meet with parents, it will not work if you're using a nickname. So this means I'm going to want to have a Meet that has a Google Meet code in order for parents to use it. The best way to do that is to schedule one through your calendar. So go to calendar.google.com, go ahead and click on a space where you want to have that Meet. And then here is where you're going to add Google Meet video conferencing. When you click on that, it's going to generate a Google Meet code. This is not a nickname, this is a code. So you don't want to use this method with students. Have the guests that I want to invite. This is where you can type in the emails of the parents that you want to invite to those particular meets. Okay, so send it through here. And then when you hit save, you're going to want to send that Google invitation. When a parent receives it as an external guest, they will be able to access that Google Meet. So I'm going to invite them as an external guest. If a parent gets into the Google Calendar and they RSVP or they say, yes, I accept that calendar invite, they'll automatically be invited into the Meet. If not, in their email, they are going to receive this Meet link, which is the one I'm going to actually click on right here to start this Meet. You can start it right through Google Calendar. And I'm going to join this as the teacher, and I'm going to wait for the parent to sign in. So once I'm the parent who has that link, if I click on this link, it will say you are going to be able to join in just a moment. And I will be able to join right here. If the parent does not have an email or you weren't able to send it this way, you can send a invite by phone, or you can directly send them to a link to the Meet that's already started. So let's talk about how to do that very quickly. So I'm back here at meet.google.com, and if you notice, the one I put on the calendar is automatically going to show up here where I can just click on it very quickly. But if I wanted to invite a parent right away without scheduling it, there's a meeting code right here. You're going to leave it blank, and it's going to generate that Meet code like before. I'm going to join here as a teacher. And once again, there's that Meet code for joining information. I'm going to go back to the parent side, and they can either enter the code here or follow that link. So if I wanted to enter the code, I could enter it right here and click join. And since this wasn't scheduled ahead of time, it's going to have this feature where you're going to have to admit the parent into your Meet. So it says ready to join. You're going to have to ask to join. I'm going to mute this real fast. And then here on the teacher side, you're going to notice that someone outside of APS is trying to get into that Meet, and I'm going to have to admit them into the Meet to let them come in. And that is how you can invite parents. This is just a really quick overview of the 3 different types of Google Meets there are: nickname Meets, how Google Meet codes work, and Meets created on a Google Calendar.